Now, they're still amazing at you meeting people. Why? Because as you are having these experiences, you are bonding with people at a completely different level. And this is where relationships in business are born at a deeper level. One of the things that we were really talking with some of the attendees, I was like, the women in this room, in that room like last weekend, these are the women that you are going to put events together with. Doing something completely different today, and I decided to sit in a different part of my office and record the podcast and the YouTube podcast here sitting on my couch. So welcome to the Be Your Brand podcast. If you know me, you know I always try to push myself out of my comfort zone, and this is something I've been wanting to try for a minute. So I hope it works out, and that in about 35 to 45 minutes, we actually have a podcast episode. So welcome to the Be Your Brand podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about the power of live events and networking. You know that last week we hosted Be Your Brand Live 2023 here in Las Vegas. We had about 73 beautiful souls and women attend our first ever conference-like live event. So I have a ton of notes here. And I also have my mate, so if you are watching in YouTube, you are going to see me drink my Argentinian mate. If you don't know what it is, I can tell you later. But a few things that I want to talk to you about this event. And I don't want to forget about anything, so I made sure that I have all my notes in here. So you want to listen to this episode if you have a live event in your heart that you want to host, or even if you love attending live events, and or if you never attended a live event, because I really think that they are life-changing. And I'm going to share with you the aftermath of this event that we hosted, but also some of the key takeaways as an attendee, how to get the most out of the investment that it takes to actually attending a live event. These are some of the points that I really want to share with you. I want to share a little bit of the journey of this event, because this came to me during breathwork about, I think it was around March. I was trying to go through my phone and see when actually I said that I went and got the venue, because this happened a few weeks prior to that. But let me give you a little bit of background. So I told this story on stage last week. And what happened was, back in 2018, when I was still in network marketing, a friend of mine called me and invited me to a live event. And at the time I was like, why would I spend all that money to go to a live event? Now, she convinced me, we end up going, and that event changed the course of my life. Truly, because that was the first time that I truly heard about impact and mission and vision. And I think one of the things that happened to me was like being in a room full of other people that are in the same path as you. This is like when you go to a concert, or when you are in a cycling class and you feel like you're doing it all together, right? And you feel like enlightened and you feel like you're all connected. I don't know. It's like the weirdest feeling ever, and it truly changed my life, because from there I got the vision that someday I wanted to speak. From there I got the vision that I really wanted to make a difference, and of course my vision changed over time. But since then I attended several live events, and at some point I knew that I would host my own. I just didn't know it was going to be this soon, or maybe like I think it was soon, but for the amount of the attendance and how amazing the event was, I don't think that it was too soon. But some of the things that happened was, number one, the event surpassed my wildest dreams. But the reason why that happened, there were three things that I kind of want you to keep on the back of in your mind. If you have a live event in your heart, or if you are planning to attend more events, or maybe how do you want to start this, right? Like if you want to build more community. So the journey getting me to the actual event. So what I didn't realize when I decided to make the event happen was the next level growth that it was going to require from me. So to give you a little bit of background, after the pandemic, I was hosting some local events with 3 friends. The event was called Power Tribe. It was amazing. And the energy that we brought into the room, we met so many women, and truly, it kind of launched my business on the local scene to a whole new level. But what happened though, it gave me so much visibility. I met so many people in person. So the relationships that I was fostering through these events then not only became into business, but it became referrals. And it became, oh my God, you need to meet this girl. Oh my God, you need to go to her event, right? So when I did my vision for 2023, one of the things that I put on my vision board is that I wanted to bring the Power Tribe energy back. Now, that didn't mean that I wanted to bring that event in particular. And when I kept working on this idea, I think that it's how the idea of BU Brand Live was born, right? Now, why am I telling you this? There is 3 reasons for this. So if you have an event in your heart, I think that is starting small is very smart, right? Because what you want to do is build community. Now, I'm telling you this, and you know that I'm all about transparency, but even in this event, we didn't have so many local people attend. We have like a handful, but not as much as I thought that I was going to have, given the record, right, that we had with Power Tribe. However, I already have a very established audience in other places, right? Like we even had Janet coming from France. So I urge you to really kind of start like the small steps of hosting something that maybe is local, because what happens though, and by the way, I teach these also when we teach networking and when we teach social media engagement. People don't realize this, but when you have a really rich network locally, what happens is these people want to support you. These people already know you. They know you at a different level, at a deeper level than people know you just on social media. So when you post or whatever, they are going to comment. Right? So the reason why this is so important is because you want to start populating your in-person network as fast as you can if you feel like hosting a live event is in your heart. Now, I know this may not be a popular opinion, but this is the way I think about it, because also that will give you experience, okay? That will give you experience on what to expect, on percentages, on how many, like even with tickets over $275, which were our tickets, we had a handful of people that didn't make it to the event. Right? So these are all things that you want to keep in your mind, you want to consider. So start small, maybe start hosting some local events. Now, if you never hosted an event, maybe you don't even care about hosting your own event, why you should attend these live events. So this is what is different about live events and networking events. Most of these events, and this is how BU Brand was thought and how it was planned and how it was curated, and that is the keyword. They are curated, right? So what happens is they are curated for you to have an experience of some sort. In our particular case, I know that my philosophy is you need to be open and you need to do the internal work. In this case, it's like mindset and growing yourself in order to then go and apply the strategies that we teach. And that is exactly how we put together this event. So on day 1, we had Laura Miner, who spoke about mindset. She truly did a remarkable job on doing like workshop styles, so women could actually identify right right there and then a limiting belief that they were having and how to reframe it. Then we had Erin, who talked about somatic. How do those limiting beliefs are showing up in our bodies, right? Why is this important? In my opinion, is because it was curated on the way I believe it happens. Now, every event is curated different, but usually these events are curated in some way for you to have a transformation, a breakthrough, and not just meet people. Now, they're still amazing at you meeting people. Why? Because as you are having these experiences, you are bonding with people at a completely different level. And this is where relationships in business are born at a deeper level. One of the things that we were really talking with some of the attendees, I was like, the women in this room, in that room like last weekend, these are the women that you are going to put events together with. These are the women that you're going to invite to speak maybe to your Facebook group. These are the women that you are going to maybe be speaking on stage with. A lot of the speakers on my event, I either met at a mastermind, or I met at a coaching program, or I met at some other event. So I kind of wanted to put that out there for you because I think it's so important. So just to recap this part is, if you have an event in your heart, you want to start small so then you can grow it and you have some insight going into it, and you can grow your local following to then add your online audience to it. Because also there is two things that actually really caught my attention. I got deviated a little bit, but the people that actually came from out of town, they were absolutely invested, right? Because they came here for that. Now, the people that are local, they were not as invested on the event. They were still kind of like on their everyday life, and they were making like the event part of their day, which it's something to really think about. And the reason for that is I've been thinking about these for next year. We do have the dates already, so save the date, September 26, 27, 28, 2024. But I've been thinking a ton about, do I actually want this event to happen here in Vegas, or do I want this event to happen a few hours away from here? The reason why I'm saying this is because the people that are from here, they don't have the investment. Like when you go out of town to go for one conference or for an event, you're absolutely involved in what that event has to offer. So you're all about the event. You're all about getting the results, the return on investment. But if you're still in your hometown, you may still be in mommy duty, right? In the morning. You may still have to pick up kids later on the day. And this will take away, honestly, in my opinion, from the experience that you can truly have and the transformation, because these events are so immersive. But that is just observation that I had with the local people. Well, hello there, friend. How are you? Well, you know I am your go-to girl for all things personal branding. So mark your calendars, because November 6th through the 11th, I am launching our signature personal branding bootcamp. We have changed it, we have added some new lessons. So even if you have taken it before, this week is going to be amazing. Here are 3 things why you cannot miss this bootcamp. Amplify, magnetize, and monetize your message. Yes. No more just posting and praying. Let's actually really break down what you need for your message to really pierce the hearts of the people that really need your impact. Teaser alert. These are the things that we're going to be covering on those 5 days. Day 1, the success phases of building your brand. Day 2, master the art of attracting your clients. No more chasing, baby. Let's start attracting the people that we want to work with to us. Day 3, messaging and positioning, the brand clarity formula. Day 4, content. This is the one everybody wants, okay? Content, the vehicle for your brand. We build a brand and then we put it on the vehicle so you can actually drive it, and that is your content. Day 5, visibility, how to get more eyes on your content and business. Just letting you know, a little secret, we're also going to have some bonus days. So are you already pumped? Because I know that I am. So head to www.attigreenspan.com/branding bootcamp, or you can find it down here on the YouTube notes or on the show notes. Hurry up, go register, and I'll see you November 6th. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is this event really gave me so much belief in what I do, so much belief in what we are creating here, so much belief on the ripple effect that I am creating in the world. And why I'm saying this is because, let me back up. Let's go back to March. We looked for the venue, which was amazing. And then all these miracles started happening. All these people started showing up for me in ways that I could have never expected or predicted. From the people at the event venue, which I never met before this event, to the company that helped us with the backdrop. And I have no problem like actually sharing some of this. I had a client from when I was a portrait photographer reach out to me and say, I love what you're doing. How can I support you? And she sponsored 10 tickets. So our tickets were $400, you guys. So she sponsored 10 tickets, $4,000 to, and at the time I didn't know how I was going to make it a win-win. And I remember I called my friend Cassidy and I was like, hey, I have this amazing sponsor. And she was like, why don't you do a nomination for people that maybe cannot come or that will actually help them to cover some of the cost? And that's what we ended up doing. And there was about 10 women that were at the event that were nominated. Right? Either nominated by a friend, nominated by me, nominated by somebody that already had a ticket to the event and invited somebody through the nomination. And guys, like, oh my God, right? Like $4,000 when you're putting an event is a lot. I reached out to the company to do our lettering and to do our backdrop that we had at the event. And she was like, what is your budget? And I was like, honestly, I'm really working on a budget here because I truly didn't have a budget that I set up last year for this. So literally I was working from zero budget. I didn't budget for this year. I ended up then allocating some of the money, but we had so many people step up and be sponsors. We also had sponsors in our workbooks. We had the people that did the backdrop. We ended up doing an exchange of services. What else? Kind of blinking out right now. I reached out to my friend from Amazing for the Soul and she helped us with all the event coordinating. There were so many things that all started coming together. My friend Jackie, who's a fellow photographer, and she did all the intro and the dancing, and it was just so beautiful to see it all come together. And for somebody that had a hard time receiving, if you want to call it, because that it's an art, especially for women, and that is something that I am personally working on. This event really was so humbling, and it really helped me learn how to receive praise, receive help. Also, when the event happened, receive love from all the people that were there. So I wanted to talk about the miracles because sometimes when we're in business, we think that we're doing it all alone. And I truly, after this event, I know we are not meant to do anything alone, right? Lindsay Schwartz from Powerhouse Women always says, we're not meant to do it alone. And after this event, I know in my heart, we are not meant to do it alone. So I hope that that gives you a lot of belief, because that's truly how I felt with this event. I know that I can pass that forward because I had to lean in believing, right, that it was going to happen. A lot, like our VIP tickets were sold almost right away, but then our general admission tickets didn't start selling until a week before the event. Like it was like one ticket, two tickets, one ticket, two tickets. But then we had a huge influx of tickets towards the last week. And I knew everybody told me that was going to happen, but when you have a room that can host up to 100 people, that is fucking scary, right? So this is, another miracle. We went to look at the venue about a week earlier, and the venue originally hosted 64 people. And the ladies started seeing everything that we had planned, and they didn't have the downstairs venue rented out. And we changed venues to downstairs, which was double the size, literally 2 weeks earlier. So that's where I started getting really scared because we were sold out for the first venue, but then we moved and then tickets weren't moving. But then a week before, tickets started moving. So I kind of wanted to like paint this picture of you that you have to hold that belief until the last minute, right? I knew in my heart it was going to happen, and it did. right? And I know, like, back in the day, I would have thought people was crazy for saying that, okay? So I know that. The other thing is, I wanted to talk about this because I know for sure that this was something where I had to expand. And it was the investing of the money into this event. There was a ton of money. Just like a lot of people, we traded and stuff like that, but I'm just gonna like give you very rough numbers. We invested about $20,000 on this event. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because I have never made an investment like that on something like this. I have invested in a $20,000 mastermind, in a $30,000 program, but never on something like this, right? Which in my mind, for me, this is about building community. This is the growth of my own brand. This is the growth of the impact I want to make in the world, and the ROI on these events, they are not seen immediately. Even though we sold into our new mastermind, we sold into BU brand, the truth is, you guys, that there was some sort of fear, right, that I had to grow through. So the expansion and the growth that went into investing into something like this, I believe it made me such a better business owner. And this is for you, if you do have an event in your heart, this is for you to not have fear, to invest in those things that maybe you know you're going to reuse, maybe the things that you're like, oh, do I really want to spend money on that? But like, and so an example of that is like, you know, step and repeats and carpets and things that we know we're going to use next year, but it was hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right, that started going out and that they were not budgeted for this year. So there was an expansion, and I was working with Laura Miner to work through the fear a little bit, to really stay anchored on what I wanted to create. So going from there, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about you, maybe as a coach, service provider, whatever it is that you do. Sometimes we sit behind our computer and we don't realize the amount of impact we are having on people. We don't realize exactly the change and the transformation we are providing people. We don't realize the extent of what we are creating in the world. And this happened to me during the VIP day. So the event was 3 days. So it was a VIP day on Thursday and then general admission Friday and Saturday. During the VIP day, it was all about going inward and really setting up the intention for the weekend. And there were cries, there were laughs, there were hugs, there were photos, there were so many things that happened that day. And as I walked into that room while some of the speakers were doing their thing, and I looked around and I was like, wow, most of the women there are my clients from our BU brand program. Not all of them, but most. These are my people. These are the people that I am providing something that is life-changing. And while for many years I would have thought, and I know that a lot of you think the same, that this was bragging, for the first time I actually had a measuring stick of the difference that I'm making in other people. Because one thing is somebody sitting across Zoom telling you, oh my God, your program has changed my life, or your help, or whatever. And this is not coming from a place of ego, you guys. In the contrary, it's coming, number one, from a place of celebration, because we have to celebrate. Right? We have to celebrate ourselves and our wins, because that's how we keep them coming. But number two is from a place of being aware that what I'm doing is working, and what I'm doing is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I highly recommend somehow you create these either for your clients or your community, because also this is the next thing that I want to talk about is community. So let's not lose the train thought, but this is the thing. When you can bring your community together, maybe an event is not in your heart, but a retreat is in your heart, right? You can do something where your community comes together. The connection between you and your community becomes so much stronger, but then also the connection between your community within each other. And I remember actually Lindsay Schwartz talking so much about this, because, you know, she's amazing at building community. But one of the things that I didn't realize, and this actually didn't happen during the VIP so much, but during the event, what happened was people were going to have lunch on their own. And, you know, when you are the coach, you are usually the conduit, right? So when we are coaching or whatever, you're directing the room, if you want to call it. And in this case, people were living and they were forming relationships. And that is what you want. You want the community to be self-sustaining. And this is the thing. This is a thought that just came to my mind. I used to think like, oh, how are people creating these communities? How are people doing this? And I know it, like we all want the how. But the thing is, if you're constantly allowing yourself to grow a little farther, a little bit out of your comfort zone every single time, the things start showing themselves to you. And while yes, obviously I'm a coach and I teach a lot of the things, right? Like in personal branding, especially visibility, but some of the things you just need to give yourself also the time and the space for you to grow into the person that I can actually provide all those things. I don't know if energetically I could have done this, I don't know, 2 years ago, right? Or if I could have taken the monetary risk, or if I could have taken not knowing, right? Because my nervous system maybe could have not taken it. I would have acted from a place of fear, okay? So I kind of wanted to like give you that. And I'm gonna have a mate here. Okay. So completely went off script. I don't really script my episodes, but okay, let's talk about actually attending events as a visibility strategy. So I kind of wanted to put all these in one, which is this. I want you to think about this. When you go to these events, I made a remark about the local people. I think the local people kind of missed out a little bit on the true experience of this event, but whatever. When you go to this event, you are 100% working on yourself and on your business, not in your business. And what this means is that you are open, right? And there is two things that are amazing. So let's talk a little bit about attending live events for visibility as a visibility strategy in your business. So we talk so much about networking and building true deep relationships, but also what I find is another way for you to actually get ROI of investing about traveling and hotel. By the way, all of this is a write-off. I mean, talk to your bookkeeper or CPA, whatever, but definitely it's a write-off. And for me, one of the things that I have capitalized the most is not only on really working the room, but also then pitching myself to speak for the events that actually are in my heart. So let me give you an example. 3 years ago, I attended the Pitch Club, and this October, I am actually speaking at the Pitch Club. Now, why this is important is you have to keep the big vision and the big strategy in mind. So what you want to truly do, and this is something I want to tell you, this is something that happened for me with the event. As soon as I announced the event, people like, oh, I want to talk in your event. Can I speak at your event? Can I do this? Can I do that? And I was like, you don't even like my fucking Instagram post. Like, no, like you cannot speak at my event. But it wasn't because I'm being mean, it's because the event is actually curated. So what happens is when you actually attend these events and you are investing in somebody, that is the reciprocity law that happens. This is the same that when you are giving free value on the internet, what happens is like people want to help you. So I truly believe that if you want to start speaking in person, you have to actually attend this event. And this actually goes also to your networking events in your area. Because if you are pitching yourself to go and do a workshop and the host doesn't know you, I'm like, why am I going to give you my audience? So I want you to think how hard it is to build an audience. And then you're literally asking somebody to trust you with their audience, okay? Which is the most precious treasure an online business can ever have, right? So one of the things that I know for myself is if I want to be speaking on bigger stages, if I want to be speaking in bigger rooms, I need to be part of those rooms, because also that is how you're going to get good and how you're going to start visualizing yourself speaking in these rooms, right? But the other thing is people over obsess with connecting with the speakers, but the true connections happen with the women in the room, right? So when you go and you make a point and you go in with a strategy, I'm going to give you an example. A week before the event, I actually went to an event myself. I went all the way to Arizona. I got on a plane, went there, spent the night, went for a one-day event that Lori Harder hosted. I met a ton of women. Now, one of those women, we kept in contact, and then she ended up being a sponsor for B-Brand only a week later. And I have a speaking engagement, and this is on Zoom with another woman that is going to happen November 6th. Now, this is just from attending that one event that I haven't even had a chance yet to actually go back and connect with every single one of the women in my little book that I wrote down. Now, why this is important to note is because you don't want to go to these events and just hang out, right? You want to go in there with intention, an intention for yourself. So, for example, this particular event that I went in Arizona, do I think that I learned a ton? I learned there is always something to learn. Actually, Jenny Gottlieb was there, which I'm obsessed with her right now. She is up and coming, and she's doing a lot of the things that I see myself doing in the future. She just wrote a book that I'm absolutely loving. Highly recommend it when it comes out. It's called Be Seen. She teaches a ton of personal branding, social media, and we're very aligned on the way we teach this, and her story is amazing. And then there were other amazing speakers, but my biggest goal for that event was connections, being featured in podcasts, being in front of new audiences, right? So that investment is invaluable to you. So start looking for networking events and live event experiences where people are actually fully committed to being in the room, okay? Start investing in events that people are fully committed, and there is nothing wrong with networking events. You want to network in your area, but the networking and the bond building at a actual live event that lasts all day or at least 2 days, it's just unparalleled because you are going to bond at a completely different level, and those are the relationships. Now, I'm going to do a whole episode about this, but I want you to kind of have these on the back of your mind, okay? There is 3 types of relationships that you can leverage at these kind of events, because I know that most women go to this event, networking or live events, fixated on getting clients. However, I want you to understand this. There is so much power on, yes, clients is only one type of connection that you can do. The other one is collaborations, like the one I just mentioned with Gretchen, which she's the lady that I met and then she became a sponsor, right? Like she literally supported my event, not only financially, not only my community, not only I gave exposure to her product, but then now we are going to connect. I'm going to be, okay, how can we actually leverage each other's connections, right? So referral partners or people that also are very well connected. Remember this word for freaking ever, network. Don't think about, networking events. No, network, right? It's a web. So when you actually really leverage this, you start realizing that clients is only one asset that you're acquiring at this event. The other one is referral partners. The other one is also peer recognition. So this is the thing, you guys. Peer recognition is so important as you are growing your own authority, that peers in your field actually see you as credible, because not only is important that people see you credible, but that peers also see you credible, right? So this is so important in order to build your authority. So I want you to go into these events with an open mind of, okay, what are some of the things that I can give? Always be there and be okay. Is it my network that I can offer? Is it, for example, I have a Facebook group with 1,800 people, right? The personal branding strategies for female entrepreneurs. That is an asset that I can leverage to have people come into my Facebook group and do trainings, come into my Facebook group and do interviews. That is actually one of the reasons when we do interview episodes for the podcast, we do them live on the Facebook group, because not everybody is listening to the podcast or watching the YouTube channel, right? So I want you to open your mind to the return on investment on being at these events. So ladies, this is like kind of my recap for the event. I can even tell you, I'm still unpacking like everything that has happened. But if you have an event in your heart, if you have been doubting about investing in going to events, please send me a DM. I will respond to it. Whatever it is that it's in your heart with this, I guarantee you it will be worth it, because your network is your net worth, and you building your own community is priceless. So I would love if you can go and give us a review, put the 5 little stars in whatever it is that you're listening. If you're here in YouTube, share this video with somebody that maybe you want to host an event with, right? What was your biggest takeaway? Take a screenshot, put it on your social media. I would love to give you a shout out, and we'll see you next time. Okay, friend, are you tired of not knowing what to post, why whatever you're posting is not working? Are you constantly confused on what to say, what to post, even when you introduce yourself in person? So content is a struggle, networking is a struggle, no more. I have for you something that we're launching November 6th, the Personal Branding Bootcamp. 5 days for you to amplify, magnetize, and monetize your personal brand. This is the reason why you cannot miss on this bootcamp. We're not only going to build your brand together while we are live, but we're also going to show you how to create content that can drive that brand forward. So don't miss it. November 6th, head to www.attigreenspan.com/branding bootcamp, or down here on the show notes.